gonna start the show now. Boom. That's my theme song today. Hey, all you crazy people who are watching this now or later, I'm Andrea the Undercat, and this is one of my very, very good friends, Vanessa. Yay, the crowd goes wild. Woo! I decided a while ago to do interviews with people about health and wellness. Rather than people selling a product, I just wanted to hear real stories about people's life, what they have been through, what they've overcome, topics they like to talk about, things like that.
Great.
So that's why we're doing this. I have a couple questions based on my curiosity. Let's start with simple stuff.
All right.
Okay? Stuff that most people don't ask because they think it's rude in the old days. How old are you?
I am the big 4-0.
Oh, you are?
I am.
Congratulations.
I'm proud of it.
Woohoo! I'm older than you by a lot.
Oh.
Well, I'm 45.
Oh, that's not a lot.
No, it's not a lot. No.
Age is just a number that's given to you.
It is. It's true.
Yeah.
Okay, so you are 40 years old. Let's get a background. Where did you grow up?
I was born in Nova Scotia.
Oh.
Tiny little fishing town, Yarmouth.
Did you fish?
As a child, yes, I did not catch much, and I often got angry and mad, and then didn't get taken fishing very often after that.
Because you didn't catch fish. I just wondered.
But I spent a lot of time near the ocean and in the water. My dad's a lobsterman, so the concept of living on the West Coast and paying for lobster sucks.
Oh, I guess. So you used to have lobster all the time.
Yeah,
then.
like lobster in our freezer would actually get freezer burnt sometimes. That happens back there. It doesn't ever happen here. It's unheard of.
No, it is unheard of here. That's actually interesting. Okay, so you grew up. Now, I hope you don't mind. I'm going to ask questions, and here's the deal.
All right.
You don't have to answer them. I'm going to ask what comes to mind. I wanted to be way more prepared. We were talking about that. But I'm just curious, and
Perfect.
I think you're an awesome person. So growing up, you had mom, dad, siblings? What was your dynamic?
My mom and dad split when I was quite young.
Okay.
So I didn't really, my dad wasn't in my life a whole lot.
Okay.
I had a stepdad that passed away, unfortunately. I was an adult when he passed away, but yeah, I had 3 brothers.
Yeah.
1 older brother and 2 younger brothers.
I had 3 brothers.
Oh, interesting.
But I'm the baby, which, yeah.
Second oldest and the only girl, so I got a lot of chores to put on me.
Oh, see, that's our generation,
Yeah.
right? I think things like that have changed.
Yes.
Or maybe they're changing.
I think so. My mom always used to say that it was because I was the best one at doing the dishes and I was good at sweeping the floor and all of that jazz, but I don't know if I believe it.
No, it was something that was just put on women, which is a really interesting topic in the whole history of your life and how that maybe affected you. Mm-hmm. Actually, we should talk about why we're wearing orange shirts today.
Yeah, we should.
Because it is September 30th.
Mm-hmm. You
showed up in an orange shirt. I said, oh, it's orange shirt day. Felt terrible.
She did.
I did. So I found an orange shirt. I wasn't planning on leaving the house today, I guess. So. Okay. But do you want to talk about it? This is to do with residential schools.
Yeah, this, in my understanding, this is about us taking a stand and saying that every child matters and us as a country and as individuals taking some accountability for the wrongdoings that happened in all the residential schools. Us saying this isn't okay, no more. Recognizing the trauma, taking actual steps towards reconciliation, even as an individual person as best we can.
Yeah.
And also the orange shirt is represents anti-bullying in general. Like every single child out there matters.
Yeah, I love that you were able to address that because I think that's incredibly important. I'm also amazed our generation knew nothing in school about residential schools.
Yeah, that's not appropriate.
No, not at all. So I'm glad that there's an awareness now. It's also generational. I'm actually curious. You have a grandfather who was First Nation.
Yes.
And he's passed away a long time ago. You didn't really know him. Because we were talking about this earlier, but I'm wondering, do you see generational effects though in your family from
I think so. I think so. And I don't know the depths of it. And I was so young, and my grandfather was also in the army. And so I think there were traumatic effects that came from multiple avenues of his life.
Yeah.
And a lot of stuff wasn't talked about.
I have the worst chair. I'm sorry.
We didn't really talk about it a lot. A lot of the historical pain and trauma was, I felt, and I could be wrong, but I felt like it was treated as something super taboo.
Yeah.
And you didn't talk about the things that brought you pain and suffering.
And I actually find our age group very interesting that way. Mm-hmm. Because we're sort of, I don't know how you feel. Do you feel we're sort of in between the generation that was definitely shut everything down and the generation now that's like, I have feelings and I'm going to tell you about it?
I think so in a sense, and I think a lot of that is because we had the wool pulled over our eyes in some senses. And I mean, there's talk out there about whose fault it is, and it's the government and it's the churches and it's this, that, and it's all of the things. But I honestly think that we just went to school and we were taught what was in the Canadian history books.
Oh yeah, whoever wrote those. I mean, that was given to the teacher. That's the easy way to teach.
And I mean, I don't know what the history books look like in schools now. I would sure hope that they've changed a lot. I would love to get my hands on my junior high and high school social studies textbooks and have a look.
And go through. That would actually be fun. Mm-hmm. You know what? I'm going to start looking in thrift stores.
That's
if
a good
we see
idea.
any, and then when you do a show or something, I'll be like, look, I found this. Let's go over this and see what they were trying to teach us.
Yeah. And I think that I think that social media itself has actually been a good way for folks to speak up about this and spread the word a little more. Mm-hmm. I think it's been a good thing. I know that there's probably a bad side to that as well, but there are people that have voices that matter, and it's time for us to like shut up and let them talk.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good. That's so good. So with your life growing up, I'm wondering, you've had a number of things that you've had to overcome in this lifetime. I actually would like to see the 60-second video that you did, but maybe you can tell me. I'm just thinking about how to phrase this. Still working on my interview skills, but I know what I want to ask here. So give me a sec.
For sure.
Let's talk about burlesque.
Okay.
Now here is something. There's a contradictory opinion of burlesque and women. There's one side that I've heard that thinks that it objectifies women and is negative. And then there's the other side where it's body positivity and self-esteem.
Yes.
Those are the two sides. I would love to know your experience and what it's done for you.
Okay. For years, I didn't even know what burlesque was. Hadn't even heard of it.
Okay.
And I found myself, I was living in Nanaimo by this point, and I found myself in a place in life where I was accomplishing some professional goals, going to university and all those things, and feeling good that way. Was blindsided by a relationship ending suddenly, like very suddenly. We were planning on getting married later that year.
Oh, wow.
And the devastation just took me over completely, and I spent a few days in bed, not eating, just, I wouldn't say self-pity, because I had a right to be broken at that time.
Of course.
But I made a decision. I think about 5 days had passed, and I made a decision that I needed to move to a place of acceptance, because I didn't end the relationship. I didn't want the relationship to end.
Okay.
So I knew I had to move to this place of acceptance, and I chose to do that rather quickly for my own benefits.
That's amazing.
And I got up out of bed one day, and I honestly, in that 4 or 5 days, all I had to eat was a piece of cheese and a bottle of ginger ale, and I knew that I needed to take care of myself. So I drank some emergency vitamin C.
Okay.
And I took myself to the mall, and I went and I asked for a senior stylist at Chatters, and I said, give me a funky, amazing haircut. Just, I want to feel beautiful. And I felt beautiful. I felt really good, but I knew that I still needed something. And it happened by accident that I came across burlesque. I was scrolling on Facebook, and I saw a friend of mine had posted, how does somebody get into burlesque? And another person tagged the troupe that I'm now with, Sweet Tooth Burlesque Review. And I didn't even hesitate. I clicked the page and I messaged the founder, Jen.
Yeah,
Ivana,
Jen, of course.
And she phoned me on the phone, and we spent almost 2 hours talking on the phone one day. And at the time, this is when Betty was sick in her coma.
Oh my goodness, that is when I met you, because we were doing a big fundraiser.
That's
then.
right. That was my first exposure with Sweet Tooth.
Oh,
so I was being a stage kitten and I had no idea what a stage kitten even was.
We have to explain what a stage kitten is.
The stage kitten is the stage hand. They are very much part of the show. Mm-hmm. So they set up the props in the stage, and they pick up the garments and whatnot. But they have to have a personality and a persona and take part. So I went and did that, and the first initial feeling that I can explain that I knew that group of people was for me was empowerment. Oh. And every single time I step onto that stage, even into that venue, and we're getting ready for a stage, it's like I can feel the empowerment like billowing towards me.
There is something about that. And so that's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, you feel the empowerment, you feel the self-esteem. Your particular burlesque is very theatrical. Mm-hmm. It's not... Do you find it's not as much about the sexual appeal, or is that part of it?
It is part of it.
Okay.
So there are many people that still look at burlesque in that old sort of lens. And back in the day, burlesque was seen as something that was meant to cater to like men in an audience. And in my opinion, today's burlesque has taken that and shifted it. And burlesque is really for us.
Okay.
As much as it's for our audience members. And so it's very much the art of striptease. And so it's, in some senses, some people look at burlesque as a satire on stripping.
Okay. That's interesting.
But that's kind of a dangerous sort of area as well, right? Because we want to value people that do strip as well, right? You want to value,
right? Yes, of course.
That's important. And I see them both as very similar. So our troupe is very diverse. We do a lot of vaudevillian stuff, but we do still have that sex appeal kind of stuff. So each of our shows are usually quite different. We have some comical stuff. Sometimes you see some stuff that is challenges your political beliefs and different things.
That's true.
Yeah. But also there is, like, you get the boas and the striptease and the stockings and everything. But it's so individual. We just have such a diverse group.
You do have a diverse group.
And we have men, too.
That's right. Do you have very many men now?
Not very many. It ebbs and flows depending on what people's schedules look like. But we're kind of, we don't really have like rules of like, you have to stay with us forever and be there at every show. Not. So we fluctuate, and some people can't perform for a few months at a time. And so,
you guys are very open to people. And what I do love about it is that you have usually every shape and size of body.
Absolutely.
And that's what I think probably does give the self-esteem, is that you can get out there. The audience knows that, well, these are real people. Mm-hmm. This is what real life looks like.
It is, yes.
This is why I wanted to do these interviews, because there is a small percentage of people who want to be healthy, who can go and be the best athletes in the world and have the best diet and the best routine. And for the everyday person, that's not always possible.
Yeah.
And I know that you've had a variety of things happen. For example, you had a car accident not that long ago.
Yes.
And now I've had several, so I understand some of the consequences of that, but I don't know how you coped with that and how you feel now. What sorts of things did you do to get better?
I'm still plugging away at getting better.
Okay.
And it was myself and Betty, the gal that was in the coma, that got in the accident together on our way to a burlesque show. In the beginning, the coping was, I found, almost next to impossible, because I went from dancing almost every day, being super active, to having like multiple injuries in my body, not being able to move. So that was, and that is still one of my hardest things, is that my endurance and my physical capabilities aren't what they used to be. Down.
How long ago was that? Let's get specific. So when did the car accident happen?
So it happened March 31st, not this past March, but the previous March.
The one
so,
before.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. It is a long. I know about long recoveries.
Yeah.
And then, what were your symptoms? What were your injuries?
Broken left foot in 2 spots. My knees, because I was the passenger, so my knees took the hit from the airbag casing opening.
Oh.
And I've actually got a forever scar on my knee.
Oh, you have a forever scar.
Got a forever scar.
I would show, but then I might be looking up your scars. So I'm like, wait, I can take them. No, it took me a while to set that webcam up, so I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it.
A lot of your typical stuff that you would expect. Lots of soft tissue injuries throughout the chest and neck and back.
Yeah.
My biggest things that are lingering still to this day are hip and lower back pain.
Okay.
Back in general, and neck and my left shoulder. Constant struggle. And so I'm still I work with a kinesiologist.
Okay.
Which...
this is good to know. So, maybe you tried a variety of things?
I would recommend it to anybody. What happened was you start seeing a physiotherapist.
Yeah.
I started seeing a massage therapist. My doctor wasn't supportive of a chiropractor.
They're not supportive of chiropractors.
Yeah, and
often.
I didn't push for that because I'm a little weirded out about my bones cracking and stuff.
Yeah, fair enough.
But I ended up getting hooked up with a great physiotherapist because the first one that I had was put on medical leave.
Oh.
And so unfortunately I had to find a new physiotherapist partway through my treatment.
Oh.
And she works out of an office where they have a kinesiologist. So she advocated for me to get with this kinesiologist because they want to get you back to the state that you were in before.
They do.
So I wanted my strength back in my legs and my feet, and I was having a hard time. I was stumbling a lot when I was walking.
Oh. Broken foot.
Walking down the stairs, I would lose the muscle strength in my legs and almost fall down the stairs sometimes.
Yeah,
so
that's not good.
No, and the kinesiologist is the best.
Didn't you live in a place with a bunch of stairs?
Thank gosh we had moved out of that place
because I remember that place.
31 stairs.
Yeah.
No elevator.
Okay. So you didn't have to live there. I was picturing that going,
gosh. I would have been trapped in my apartment I had my air boot on for 8 weeks.
Oh, air boot. That sounds like kind of a fun thing. I've got my air boots on.
Yeah, it's fun now that I'm done with it.
No doubt. So kinesiologists, do you know what they do?
Well, I think it depends on the individual and what you're seeing them for. So you can see kinesiologists without having had an injury. But really, for me, what they have done is based on my injuries and my needs, my physical needs and stuff like that. They create a workout sort of strengthening plan for you. And then they make sure you're doing everything right.
Yeah, so that's what I found was really helpful for me when I went and did physio. And this is important for people who have back and neck problems. There are finite exercises specific to you.
Yeah.
So it's like the step up from a personal trainer. I also don't recommend a personal trainer for people who've had injuries because they don't have the training.
I almost went down that route thinking that that's what I needed. And I won't name any of the offices that I work with, but where my first physiotherapist was, there was I don't remember what his title was. He definitely wasn't a kinesiologist, but he was a trainer of some sort. Mm-hmm. And my massage therapist had said, why don't you check in with this fellow and get an assessment? You can get a free assessment. But I found that it was like exercising. It wasn't my specific things to me. And some of the things were really hard. And a lot of the stuff was stuff on the floor. Well, I still have a hard time getting up and down from the floor, right? So
so that's interesting. So that's something important for people to know.
Yeah.
This is what I love about your particular story here is that you've had all these specific injuries, and then knowing what works for you. Mm-hmm. What's something? Can you show me? Is there some kind of exercise that's been really, really good for you specifically? Like a regular one that maybe you are stretching or.
Yeah, I don't like the exercise.
Oh, okay. So that's
because it makes me it's a little tough on my back and my shoulders. But what I was finding was there was so much tension and tightness across here and in my back of my shoulders, and we really needed to. I've got some rotator cuff stuff going on, and we needed to strengthen the muscles. And so I find the most effective ones for me right now are simply the ones that I do with the rubber band, and you have the band attached and you're like doing your, you're pulling and stuff like
pulling.
that.
A lot of people know those ones.
But they have another one that's called...
Also, I'm wondering, I'm going to just pause for a second. Are you comfortable in this chair?
Yeah, I'm great.
You are good.
I'm
okay,
good.
okay.
Thank you.
I'm like, you know what? This is my living room, and I've got a really... You know what? I'm going to pause and change my chair.
She's going to change her chair.
I'm going to change it because it's squeaking, and it's driving me insane. I'm changing my chair. I'm going to sing about it.
And now she's singing as well. What a treat.
I'm going to change to one of these. It's not a great chair, but
it's a lovely chair.
Maybe it won't squeak. Oh, there we go. There. And then I can sit. I'm a little higher than you now, but that's
there you go. That's all right.
No worries. And I'll scooch over close. Look at me. Oh, there we go.
Yeah,
that's
look
better.
at you.
And I'll do the interview like this. This is my friend Vanessa. Oh, hey, Jay. Somebody just, an entrees.
Flip some tables.
Forget the chair, flip some tables. Maybe that could be a new form of exercise.
Could be, yeah.
Maybe
flipping.
Like table flipping would be what helps you. And the squeak is fine, ma'am. Also, hello, ladies. That's Jay. Hi. Jay from England.
Oh, hello, England.
Yes, and I never am going to say your name right. Entree is from Nelson, BC.
Oh, wicked. I like Nelson.
Yeah. Have you been to Nelson? It's pretty.
I haven't actually spent a lot of time in Nelson. I've driven through and had a couple of pit stops, but it is quite beautiful.
Oh, there's a few people tuning in. Morbid's here. Morbid is an American friend.
Oh, hello. Welcome.
Welcome. This is my friend Vanessa. And so if you just tuned in, we're wearing orange shirts because it is anti-bullying. Remember, residential schools, remember every child matters.
Yeah.
And it's September 30th, so that's why we're wearing orange shirts. We're talking about health and wellness with my friend here. And, well, maybe you'll have to review some of it that went on earlier that we were talking about. Cause
maybe, yeah.
But we might have got to train for catching someone cheating at poker. What? You have to that? I don't know. When did you change your name? Oh, Morbid, you didn't know I changed my name. Okay.
The name of the show?
The name of my character, so Vanessa.
Oh.
I was Sapphire Jeans.
Oh, that's right.
But it was only because I didn't spell sapphire correctly, which
that makes it better, though, in my opinion.
Maybe it did. And then I'm like, well, what am I? What's my name? And then somebody suggested the Undercat because the underdog.
Oh, yeah. I like it.
Yeah, it sort of works because I'm kind of, in terms of health and wellness, the reason why I want to interview people is because I can relate to a lot of crappy things.
Yeah, for sure.
Well,
and people don't talk about it enough, right? Like, we talked about the whole tabooness in my family a lot, and I find that's often the case with mental health.
Mental health is another one.
Chronic illnesses and chronic pain and stuff like that. People don't talk because a lot of people don't understand. And people get tired of trying to help people understand. It's like a cycle.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, and do you think that if we were able to just talk about it easily, that there wouldn't be as much of a problem?
Yeah, and I think I see that in action with a lot of my friends and loved ones. There is so many more spaces, whether it's just in people's homes or public spaces that we hang out at or perform at. It's much more accepting to talk about it.
Your group is awesome. So great.
Most of our troupe, and what people don't know, most of our troupe has some sort of disability. And
that's true.
Many of them are hidden disabilities. You can't see it, and we don't often jump up on stage and talk about it because when we're on stage, we're in our personas, right? So like,
yeah. Oh wait, sorry. For people who are watching, her troupe, she does burlesque with a whole bunch of wonderful people, all different genders, all different ages, all different body types. So just to fill in. So, and then we're talking about, physical well-being, overcoming that, and mental illness.
Yeah.
We didn't get deep into that, but
yeah, it's everywhere, right? And one of the most common mental illnesses that afflicts a lot of people all across the nation is anxiety. Like, you'd be surprised how many people have generalized anxiety disorder and how much that interferes with your ability to get up and show up and go to work and all of those things.
It's true. It's becoming a more common diagnosis. Mm-hmm. What I'm wondering, though, and let me be devil's advocate here, is at what point is it going to be too many people using it as an excuse?
I think you're always going to have that. And I think that is just a thing that is based on the individual person. I feel like I see that sometimes with some people. And so it's, for me, I have to ask myself, how much does it affect me if somebody else is using it as an excuse?
That's a really good point. Oh, I love that.
Because it's hard, because sometimes my situation is mine and mine only, but my mental health disorders have impacted me greatly. I haven't worked at my regular job in over 4 years because of it.
What was your regular job?
Nursing.
It was nursing, yeah. And so you actually went, that when we talked earlier about you going to university, that's what you initially went to university for? Yep. For nursing. Mm-hmm. And you haven't gone back to that. What were the effects of nursing?
That was tough. And I think that a lot of people enter into a profession like nursing thinking that it's all cushy and loving and beautiful, and there are many aspects of it that are just those things. But nursing ebbs and flows a lot, and when you work in a facility that needs upgrading and different things like that, there's just different stressors, and it's high paced, and we have, especially here on the island, our aging population.
Oh yeah, it's incredible.
There's not enough appropriate places to have them go, so the hospitals just aren't, they're not balanced, I don't think, in a proper way.
No, because we're dealing with the baby boomers.
Yes, yeah.
Actually, did you notice in the last 5 years, dramatic change? All of a sudden there's jobs that weren't there before.
Yes.
But there's also need for housing, and I mean, this goes on and on and on. Right?
There's so many co-compounding factors into the situation, but when I went off of work, I didn't realize how fragile of a state I was in. I didn't recognize my own mental health needs or what was even going on. So there was some extensive therapy.
What? Have you ever heard about anyone talking about generations in terms of brand of cool?
Brand of cool? No.
I don't know what you mean.
Elaborate.
You are being cryptic today, aren't you? This is probably like a... Yes, elaborate. We will keep looking at
you. But, to follow up with, like, generational stuff, when you look at jobs like nursing, there is a generational view to that in some senses.
Oh, interesting.
And you often hear people say things like, if you can't handle the heat, get out of the kitchen. And in historic times, that was just the way it was. You just did the nursing job and you were tough. And we were taught so much about holistic care and self-care. And then my mistake was forgetting to bring that back onto myself.
It's that being the caregiver for others.
Yeah.
In some ways, people do that subconsciously, ignoring what's going on in them.
And that's what I did. It started at like a time that I was very, very little. Always babysitting. Always babysitting my brothers and cousins. And then my first pregnancy was when I was very young. So I was 17 when I got pregnant. Right. And I did everything backwards. Like, I didn't go to university until my first 2 kids were a bit older.
Tell me about that. How many children do you have? When did you have them?
Okay, so my first child was born when I was 18. My oldest daughter.
Okay.
Paige. She was born on St. Patrick's Day. So March 17th.
I have a daughter on St. Patrick's Day.
That's right.
Oh, my goodness. We did know this. Oh, yeah.
So I was just 18. I turned 18 in February when she was born. And I hadn't graduated high school. I tried to go back to, like, I forget what the name of the place was. I think it was called Tara in Edmonton. It was like an association for pregnant young teens, and it wasn't.
At least they had that then.
Yeah, but it didn't work well for me. I didn't stick it out. But I did go back to school after. So my son came a couple of years later, and I was living in Edmonton at this time.
Did you have? I'm going to ask more. Like, this is my curiosity. Okay, so you got pregnant young. Did you have a long-term partner, or was this just like, teenage years? Yeah.
It was a high school love that I ran away from home with and moved to the island with.
Oh, wait, this is interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, wait, a high school love. Like you dropped out of high school?
Yeah.
And you followed... Well, obviously it was a person with a penis.
Yeah, that's right.
Because you had a baby.
I did, yeah. So we... in all honesty, I was actually looking to end that relationship, and I was going to be moving back to Edmonton to go to my mom. And the day that my Greyhound bus was leaving, I ran away to Chetwynd up north.
Oh, where's Chetwynd?
I don't even know. It's somewhere up north.
I never even heard that. Okay.
Yeah, it's north. It's very north.
Okay.
And I knew that I had made a mistake, and I knew that I had to go home and like get my life back on track. And I honestly found out 4 hours before I got on the bus that I was pregnant with my first child.
Oh.
So I had to go home and tell my mom.
Oh. So you were like 4 hours before you got on the bus.
Yeah.
Wait, this relationship, hang on, let me follow this again. The relationship ended.
No, I was thinking about ending it. I just didn't. I thought it was the best thing to do. But when I found out I was pregnant, ending it wasn't anything that was a possibility to me.
Why do people do that?
They do that because of historical times of it being embedded into you that a young lady has to like grow up and find a man and get married and have a family and do all of those things. And that's kind of what I thought. I kind of thought like, if my grandfather was alive, he would have been like, you're getting married to that guy.
Right?
That was kind of the expectation.
So what did your mom do when you took off to the island? She must have been...
She tried to stop me, but she kind of knew that she couldn't.
Okay.
So she gave me a little bit of money and a hug, and
That's good, though.
Yeah.
If she knew... So it wasn't an angry leaving,
No.
Oh, she just went, okay. And... So you're 17. You didn't have a job. This guy. Why did you go to the island?
I don't know.
Like what? Was he just like, let's go to the island?
I thought I was in love. Thought I was in love, and there was love. I don't like looking back. Of course, that's what you always say. I wish I knew then what I know now, right?
I fall in love in a week. I do. I still to this day. It's sort of my thing. And then I go, wait, that wasn't love. I don't know what that is.
Yeah,
pheromones.
Yeah, there's a fine line between love and lust.
Yes, exactly.
I'm not sure how it came to be.
Hi, Papa. Papa 132 is here. Hi, he likes feet.
Oh, he likes feet.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Oh, okay.
Good to see you. This is my friend Vanessa. I just want to make sure we didn't miss it. Oh, yes. Entree, I think cringe is the new cool. I am very cringy, as you know, and I think it is. Actually, I should make a t-shirt that says cringe is the new cool.
Yeah.
That's what we should have.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Just foot fetish. Just foot fetish. Yes.
The feet are overlooked often.
The feet are overlooked.
Yes.
Did you know it's like one of the most common fetishes? You probably know. You're involved with all these people who are just not mainstream.
I know some weird people.
Yeah.
But to me, weird is what I would consider normal.
Yeah, it's free.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Like in our troupe, we encourage and very much support radical self-expression. So
radical self-expression.
Yeah. So sometimes we have to give
burlesque
warnings.
Again. Okay.
Epsom salt.
No, you're not weird. You're not weird at all.
I don't think that's weird.
No. Okay, so
weird is good.
Weird is good. Okay, so Papa just tuned in. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'll just because we've got a few people chatting. I want to introduce you to some of the people here. So this is Vanessa. She is telling us a bit about her life and health and wellness, things she's overcome, and Andres is stoned. I'm gonna say you're very stoned. And she's in a burlesque troupe.
Burlesque bannock making. You know what? That could be a thing. There's a lady in Nanaimo here who actually did a very sultry routine making a peanut butter and jam sandwich.
What?
And at the end, one side of the bread ended up here and the other side ended up here.
Are you serious?
Yeah, but...
This is so much fun. I love it. Okay, and it's great to see you. Oh, Papa likes to be called Leon. His name's Leon.
Leon. Hello, Leon.
Yes. Good. It's nice to have people in chat.
Yeah, it's lovely.
Very cool. Okay, so check out the amount of pectin she has. What? Nope. Maybe I shouldn't much love to you guys. Oh, from Newcastle.
Oh, I love Newcastle. It's beautiful over there.
Oh, very cool. Thank you for telling us where you're from. I love that when people come in to chat, they say where they're from.
Yeah.
And, this is the one thing I do like about streaming live on Twitch is that you meet people from all around the world.
Yeah, that's cool.
Lucky for you, I have banned probably 30 people.
Oh.
So that we won't get really, really super weirdos. If you haven't been banned and you've been here, you're not weird. You're super cool.
Yeah.
Okay? And let's speak about the weirdos in your life that are awesome. I love them. Actually, no, wait. Let's go back to where we were. We were talking about being a crazy teenager, following what you thought was love, and getting pregnant just before you got on the bus to ending your relationship and coming back to Edmonton, coming back to your mom, and you're like, oh, so you got on the bus, and you went to Edmonton and you met your mom.
I did, and oddly enough, my mom has a friend named Lori who is super, super intuitive.
Oh.
And Lori had a pretty detailed graphic dream about me getting off the bus pregnant.
Oh!
And in her dream, I was much more pregnant than I actually was because I was only about 6 or 7 weeks.
Right.
And
well, you just found
so
out.
my mom kind of already knew. And I had promised my boyfriend that I would wait until he got to Edmonton a week later and we would tell our parents together. But I could tell that my mom knew. She was just telling me stories and asking questions and saying things, and I knew that she knew. Yeah. Yeah.
Did you guys have jobs on the island?
He had a job.
Tell me what he was doing.
He actually was working falling trees for a company.
Oh.
But it didn't end well, actually. It ended up being a terrible situation. He was working for a fellow who operated a 5-ton truck that wasn't properly insured or properly maintained, and they had an accident coming down a logging road, and one of his friends got killed.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry, but this is part of life.
It happened,
wow.
right? Yeah. So that was pretty traumatic for him, and we both ended up back in Edmonton.
That would be. I was wondering if there was something drastic. That's about as drastic as it gets.
Yeah, it was pretty impactful.
Yeah, sorry to hear that. Thank you, Leon.
Thank you.
Wow, so that was a long time ago. I mean, that was like 23-ish years ago, 22 years ago.
Wow, I don't like the fact that I can tell stories that have 22 years ago in them.
I know. It feels like yesterday because, when I was 17, I don't know, when I was 19, I joined a cult. I mean, come on.
Right? Yeah.
Right?
I
So,
think that's a lifetime ago.
That was a lifetime. We do things. Actually, I was pregnant when I was 18, but that's we're not going to talk about that. Okay, so you ended up back in Edmonton.
Yeah.
With this boy, and living with your mom. Did you both live with your mom?
No, actually, we ended up moving in with my Auntie Joanne because she was the only one that would have us both together.
Oh,
both of our parents wanted to I love you, Mom. They both wanted us to not live together, and that just didn't make sense to me. To me, it just made sense that we were together. So my aunt, I'm forever grateful to her for this, and she was doing a pay it forward thing because she had a beautiful thing happen to her before. So she let us live with her while I was pregnant, and she helped us learn about some budgeting, and she didn't charge us rent. She let Tim use his money to buy stuff for our house to get ourselves set up for our own place.
Oh, my goodness. See,
before
that's
the baby
beautiful.
came, we had our own place. Yeah.
That's health and wellness as well.
Yeah.
The more people that pay it forward, the better our society is going to be.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's a key point. Mm-hmm. Okay, so then you had... I like this. I hope you don't mind. I love the story of your life. This is good. So then you had baby.
Yeah.
March 17th. And then were you still with the boy?
Yep. And then another baby came along a couple of years later.
Same partner? Okay, so you guys totally stayed together. You got set up.
We were together for a few years, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you almost left him. The baby kept you together. Did you do okay?
We did for a while, but then things kind of deteriorated and there were just some unhealthy choices. After second baby came along, and I'm going to get deep and candid now, we got wrapped up in drugs.
Okay.
The two of us.
Okay. This is part of life, though.
Yeah,
I'm glad that you're able to share that.
So we were making some really, really, really poor, unhealthy choices, and unfortunately, we were surrounded by families that enabled those choices.
Interesting.
And so
Can I ask what kind of drugs?
it was cocaine.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's once you start, it's not easy to
Yeah,
stop.
it was tough. And so his grandparents here in Nanaimo got us on the phone one day, and his grandfather was like, enough is enough. Get those kids and get on the plane and come here.
Okay.
And when that opportunity came my way, I didn't second guess it at all.
You knew you were struggling.
I knew I had to go. I knew that.
How did it start with the cocaine? I mean, this happens a lot with people who have children young.
Yeah.
They get into like some sort of addiction that kind of missed portion of their childhood.
Yes. So
How did it start?
I think for myself, it was kind of, well, I didn't think there would be an issue. I just did it. Yeah, it's pretty gross, but it's part of what makes me who I am today. So talking
Exactly.
about it is okay.
It's good, yeah.
You realize when you come from a place of trauma, and there was a lot of trauma in my childhood, you realize how much of a Band-Aid stuff like that can be
It is.
to you. And you don't often in the moment.
No.
And so I didn't know that I was kind of just numbing myself. But also I believe that for myself, it was kind of, I was looking to integrate with other people. And I didn't, because I left Nova Scotia so young, and then it was culture shock moving to a big city from a tiny town. I never really found good solid friends, and then I was pregnant, and then the friends that I did have were just, that's what was happening.
That's what was happening.
And
That's yeah.
you have the attitude of like, I'm not going to get addicted. I'm okay. I'm a strong person. But then 6 months passes and you've lost 40 pounds. And
Yeah.
so I got on the plane and I didn't look back, and I saved my life, and I...
Really? So you didn't have to go, you didn't have to do any kind of like rehab or anything? You were able to get out of the scene?
I was sick for the first 2 weeks that I was in Nanaimo. I was very sick.
Oh.
Very sick from withdrawal.
Like withdrawal, okay.
Yeah.
For about 2 weeks though, but that's good to know that there's kind of a 2 week holy shit period.
Yeah, and I don't know what it's like for anybody else. And I probably would have gone to rehab if I wasn't able to kick it. But it also helped that we came to a place where I didn't know anybody. And so the first initial months that I was here, I only spent time with his family and let the family kind of get to know the kids. And so we were just surrounded by so much love and support and understanding, because everybody knew what was going on, right? We didn't have to show up and kind of pretend that none
it
of
wasn't
that
happening.
happened.
No, and that's fantastic. I think that one of the hardest things for people for health and wellness, for overcoming things, is keeping secrets.
Yeah.
And that's there's a lot of shame around addiction and drug use, and that reinforces the addiction.
Yeah.
And so, that's something that's a very important point. I don't know if anybody ever watches this and maybe they have had addictions or they still have some addictions. It should be okay to admit
You got to
what's
talk
going on.
about it the same way. Yeah, it's good that you're open with yours too. Like, everybody needs to be able to talk about it, because this is a real situation, and I'm tired of people being pushed into the back alleys and in the closets.
Yeah.
That's why we're losing more people. That's why people aren't accessing the many services that are there for them. And moving to the island was one of the best things that I ever did, not just because it got me off of the drugs, but it lined me up in ways that I could be there for other people.
Yeah.
So, like, I have a passion about harm reduction and mental health and addiction, and I want to do fundraising and things to help people.
So I actually find that interesting as well. So harm reduction. There are a variety of theories about what is going to help people with addiction. I can say I don't mind. I went to AA for a number of years. And that's a whole story in itself. I think that there are some useful parts to it, but I found that was not where I needed to be.
Yeah.
Couple things didn't line up with my belief system, and there were some negative things. But but it is good for some people who don't. The 12 steps and things are good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Harm reduction is definitely the way a lot of things are going. Some people think that doesn't work at all, but I think they're the old school 12 steppers.
Yeah, it's really interesting, because I'm kind of in a spot right now where my views are kind of changing around harm reduction, and and they're actively changing, and I don't know what that means or where it's going. But when I first was in nursing school, I was part of a student-run group called Faces of Addiction.
Okay.
And that was started because they thought that Nanaimo was going to be in need of like safe injection sites and more harm reduction stuff. And the city was like, no, Nanaimo's not quite there. And this would have been...
I think we've always been there. Let's be
Yeah.
real.
I think this group was started in 2005 initially. And so I had the experience of going over... We went to Vancouver, and we had a member of VANDU, which is the Vancouver area network of drug users.
Okay.
We had a member of that service take us on a super eye-opening tour through East Vancouver.
Oh, that would be an eye-opener.
We went into the back alleys and we did some harm reduction teaching about how to more safely inject. And people have issues with it because they think that harm reduction is always just about the person that's using, but harm reduction is meant to protect the people that they surround as well, and families, and prevent infections and prevent like all of the things.
It's
right?
like in the same category as immunizations almost. I mean that's maybe I'm stretching.
It's similar,
but it's like, is this going to prevent something? The way of society is, it's sort of, if you can't stop something, we would love for nobody to be doing any drugs.
That's right.
Who wouldn't? But if you can't stop it, let's try and make it safe. Try and make it,
And it's getting a bad rep here in Nanaimo, I think, because of the current situation that we're under, with the fact that there was a needle exchange created. And with that needle exchange, my understanding is that folks were supposed to bring their used ones
needles,
to be safely discarded in, and then they would get clean ones in exchange. But that's also giving them a contact point with services that they might like, and so they might not be ready to get clean or even to think about it. It all depends on where they are in their stages of change, I guess. But they're coming into contact with people that offer these services that they may not otherwise come into contact with.
Yeah.
But it's getting so much heat thrown at it because of the fact that we're finding needles everywhere.
But we find them anyway.
I know, but it's just what's causing. I don't know exactly what it's causing, but people are getting frustrated. Okay. There was a little girl, I believe, on the island in Victoria who was poked by a needle and had to like take all the
antiviral stuff.
Yeah, you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So it's kind of in a weird area, this whole harm reduction thing, because everybody immediately thinks to needles, but harm reduction is about so much other things.
Oh, we got somebody here. Oh yeah. Oh, so let's review chat here. Papa says, in terms of addictions or whatever, he's open with his, which is very, very good. We were talking about how it's important to be open about stuff because keeping secrets is what makes it harder. And then, I don't know you. Zendaya Poop. I like that the end of your name is Poop. How's your day? How is our day?
It's good.
It's good.
The sun is shining.
Yep, the sun is shining.
And with one of my good friends, meeting some new people from across the world.
Yeah, where are you from? Zenda? I'm going to call you Zenda. We have to pick names that nobody else has. I find that kind of hard on
I find it so hard. Even when you're just choosing like an email name. It's like, that one's already taken. That one's already taken. Texas, welcome.
Texas, awesome.
You know, Betty, Sarah.
Yeah.
Lived in Texas for quite a while as a teenager.
How did I not know that about her? Yeah, Vanessa is part of a local burlesque troupe. And we're also talking about just health, wellness, life. And welcome to the chat. I'm talking about her life. And Newcastle is northern UK.
Oh, so Newcastle. We have an island right near us that's called Newcastle Island, and that's where we thought you were. We thought you were just our neighbor.
No, he's in northern. But there's also Newcastle in Australia. So I was like, okay, northern UK,
cool,
Texas, Nelson, BC, and there were some other people. There's another person from UK. Jay was here earlier.
Yeah,
but people float around.
Of course, yeah. That's the lovely land of the internet.
Yeah. So we're learning about your life. I am loving this story of your life. I'm going off on tangents.
That's okay.
That's what I do.
I like it.
Yeah. Okay. So we're back in Edmonton. You are in your early 20s.
Yep.
And then you had 2 kids with someone. Mm-hmm. And then you guys came back to the island because of cocaine addiction. You had some people who would help you. His family helped you. You were able to overcome that because because of the love and support that you got, and you were able to be open about it.
Yeah.
So here you are with this boyfriend.
Yes.
With 2 small children. You still have the children, though. You
Yes.
didn't lose
Yes.
the children.
Yes.
And then what happens?
Eventually that relationship sort of disintegrated, but during that time I was taking steps. I found myself a little job. I worked at Sheffield and Sons. I was a tobacconist.
A tobacconist.
I sold fancy cigars that I knew nothing about.
Well, that would have been,
And I was taking steps to get myself back in school. So I already had myself set up to start my upgrading to get into, I knew I was going to go into nursing school.
Oh, wow.
And so that relationship ended, and my family in Nova Scotia, my mom, the first thing she said was, well, we better get you a plane ticket and fly you home.
So she was back in Nova Scotia now.
Yeah.
So she was no longer in Edmonton.
No.
Which, I don't even know how anybody lives there. Sorry if anybody watches this.
From Edmonton.
Do you understand this?
No.
Nope.
Help us understand.
Help us understand way I.
Yes, please.
Okay, so but she wanted to bring you back to Nova Scotia.
Yeah,
and you're
my,
like, nah.
my first thought, it means a very big yes. Oh, I love that. I'm going to remember that. Thank
way
you.
high. I love it.
When my mom said, we got to get you home, the first thought that I had was, I am home. And for the first time in my life, I was in a place where I had actual independence, even though I already had children.
Yeah.
But I was doing it by myself. I was paying my own rent. I was working. I was going to school, taking my kids to daycare. Like, I did it all by myself for a couple of years.
I love your story so far, and it gets even better. I'm sure. Well, no, I mean, interesting. I love people's stories. This is why I'm doing this. This is so great. So, wow. The overcoming.
Yeah.
And wow, your children. So you got your nursing degree.
Yes. So I started nursing school in 2003.
Oh, okay.
And they give you 7 years to complete the 4-year course.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Okay.
And because so I guess before this I had met a new man.
Okay.
If that's what you want to call him. A new fellow came into my life, and I was in school already and got pregnant again.
Oh.
So I had 2 babies while I was in the nursing program, and took the full 7 years, literally down to hours, by the time I finished my final practicum.
Wow.
To
Did you
complete
have
it.
the 3rd baby?
I had all 4 babies.
Oh, 4 babies. I'm sorry. I should know all these things, and I don't. So, but that's why we're doing this.
Yeah.
So wait, you had 4 babies. Okay, you had 2, and then you had a new guy, and then you had 2 more.
Yeah.
During your school.
During nursing school, yes.
And you still did it.
I did, yes.
You are a fertile lady.
I took...
Yeah. The Undercat, can you guys react to a personal song for me later? I just want to share my emotions to you guys, if that's okay. Oh!
I'm open to that.
Oh, yeah!
And Doom Tune means downtown. I like that. Doom Tune.
Doon Tune.
Doon Tune.
Doon Tune.
I'm going to say that to my friends.
Doon Tune. Let's go Doon Tune.
Doon Tune.
That's so good. Thank you, guys. Oh, yeah, for sure. I really like Papa when he comes in. He's
That's
so
awesome.
nice. I think, I did one where I was singing and I just filmed my feet.
Oh, what a treat that was.
Right? See, this is so, oh my goodness. Okay. So now we're skipping ahead a bit and I don't want to miss anything. Let's just get into this. Let's hit this.
What are we hitting?
You're not heterosexual.
No.
Can we just hit it? You're not. And this is fascinating for me as well because I came out as bisexual a number of years ago, and my kids said to me, yeah, we already knew that.
That's funny.
Actually, Mom, you're pansexual. And I was like, what the heck is that? Like, there was no coming out because that generation is like, yeah.
Yeah, they already got it figured out.
They already got it figured out. Can I just, because
Yeah.
here you are. You've had all male relationships up to this point.
Yeah.
You have had 4 babies.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And how did you know within yourself?
I think I kind of knew, but I think my experience was a little different than many people, and I don't think that I had like a traumatic coming out experience, and I I didn't like have this thing inside of me where I knew and I had to like get it out.
Yeah.
It just, in all honesty,
To me as well. No, you want to see our feet? Well, we're just going to do the interview. I don't know about feet. We'll see. Yeah.
Might have to set up a special interview for that.
Yeah, special separate interview, just feet. Paint faces and talk.
So it's kind of cliche, actually, how it happened.
Cliche, I love cliche.
Because this was literally the same time that Katy Perry's song, I Kissed a Girl and I Liked It, came out.
Oh, that's
And I had
awesome.
my very first kiss with a girl, and it was unexpected, but it was in that very moment that I kind of just knew.
Yeah.
And it was like many years of my life before that made sense.
Oh.
And struggles in relationships with men that I had just made sense.
So what do you that I can understand that a little bit. What would you consider there's quite a spectrum actually for sexual preference.
Yeah.
And so where would you put yourself? Not to classify, but where would you put yourself?
I don't really I don't like the labels.
No, okay.
So I kind of I'm glad that you're finding it inspiring. That's good.
Oh, good. Thank you.
I consider myself queer. That is if I had to have a label, that's probably what I would choose to go with.
I like that. I like that.
And that's not I'm not trying to hide from the word lesbian or anything like that, but I really enjoy the word queer.
Yeah.
And I feel like queer kind of encompasses not just my orientation, but kind of even just my personality and my giddiness and stuff like that. It's just, that's kind of my preference.
I like that.
But when people ask me how I identify, I always say I identify as princessa.
Okay. Well, because you're involved in this group of people. I mean, there's, here's another question for you. You're involved with a whole bunch of polyamorous people, but
yes,
you appear to be monogamous, but I don't know. What?
I am, yes.
Okay.
I wouldn't say I dabbled in polyamory. I did some exploration. I was a single person at the time, and I dated multiple people. Mm-hmm. Wasn't in love with any of them really. Mm-hmm. And I also went to what I like about the poly community here in Nanaimo is that there's a very respectful and responsible side of it where they create groups. They have a group that meets, I think it's called Poly 101 something or other. And it's a group gathering where you can go. It's informative. They have guest speakers. And often those guest speakers will be authors or people that have successfully been in polyamorous relationships for 20 plus years. So you get the chance to, and there are strict rules around it where if you're at a restaurant for the meeting, you can only have a maximum of 2 drinks. Because they don't want people to turn it into a pickup scene.
Oh, I see.
So they have
That's
this
really
sort
good.
of safe, educational, explorative side, but then they have a lot of social gatherings, some of which are very family friendly.
It's not about it. From what I know, and I don't feel that I'm a polyamorous person because I also tried, but I felt like once I'm in love with someone, I can't see anybody else, and that's me. Yeah, so that's what happens for me. Oh, that's cute. Oh, I didn't know you could do that with emotes. For those who can't see this, cute. Entree did, so they have, these are little emotes they have on Twitch, little faces or things, and they can kind of happy faces. And then there's the pride flag ones.
Cool.
So I didn't know that you can do that on a face. That's really cool. That's awesome. Yeah, so very supportive people in my chat. It's fantastic.
That's great.
I find that. So you're in a relationship right now?
Yes.
Yeah.
We just actually celebrated 3 years together.
Oh, what? That's awesome. So good. So I'm kind of going back and forth here, but I wanted to throw that out right there because I was like, wow, you had all this, you had babies.
I should write a book one day.
But this is the thing.
I think I might.
So many people actually could write something. Your history is very interesting. So now let's go back to the second guy, 2 kids. Where did things change? Oh, you have your nursing degree, so now you're working. You have 4 kids?
I was almost done my nursing program.
Okay.
I had about 7 months left of the program, and
He cheered. Yay! So that actually goes to what people do, like donations and things. So
Okay.
The 100 cheer points is like $1 in donation. So thank you,
cool.
Papa.
That's awesome.
Yay! And Andres with all his wonderful emotes. I love it. Pride emotes and different flags and things. That's very good. Thank you. Okay.
So that relationship was falling apart.
Okay.
And what I didn't realize at the time was it was falling apart because I was gay.
Right.
And so there was a lot of fighting and misunderstandings and arguments and just grossness towards the end of it. And so then it kind of made more sense when the woman kind of came into my life. And yeah.
Interesting how that, because we're raised, again, I say our generation is sort of changing now, to believe that you must be with this one man. I mean, our society was kind of based on Christian beliefs.
Yeah.
Actually, somebody told me once, did you know this? That when the Mayflower came over, which was one of the first things, that not only were they Christian, but they actually weren't accepted in their community because they were extreme Christians. Oh. So it wasn't just that it was based on like, oh, Jesus, yay. No, it was like fundamentalist, hardcore, cultish. Anyway, yeah. I don't know if you knew that. So that's what like North America was kind of like the white part of it was founded on. Yeah. And
Wow.
then we're wearing orange shirts because it just got worse. Hopefully things are getting reversed.
That's not a good reason to get bullied. No reason is a good reason to get bullied. I was bullied a lot in school.
I was also bullied.
I often got bullied because of my big nose.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
But whatever. Now I love it. It's mine and I'm keeping it forever.
You know what? And I love it too. And you have such a, you light up the room, honestly. Like, and when you do burlesque, tell me about what that does for you, what you're feeling on stage.
Oh, it's amazing. It starts a little bit before I get on stage because the idea is that you leave your muggle self at home and you step into your persona, like you're literally putting your persona on like a costume. And so I kind of have like a ritualistic approach to my day. I like to have a long bath and take my time to get ready and do my hair and my makeup, and I'm slowly kind of getting into gear, and I have some music on that's helping me. But for me, the moment it first starts is when I put on my lipstick.
Oh,
and that's because I don't wear lipstick ever. I rarely wear makeup.
Oh, that's
I do wear
so
makeup,
true.
but not like
not
full makeup.
No,
but
we're
red
both,
lipstick was something I never even owned until I started burlesque. So like as soon as I put that lipstick on, it's like Miss Clara Fox comes to be, and then I knew I was kind of meant to be on the stage because the first time I got up there, I wasn't even nervous. And I thought something was wrong with me because I wasn't nervous.
Oh.
And then you step up there and you see the audience and the lights and just the energy. It's just, I don't know, you're just full of excitement and the empowerment. And then one thing that I hear from people in the audience all the time is that they think that they love seeing me in my element up there and that I do nothing but smile the whole entire time.
You actually do an incredible job, and I haven't seen you for a while, so it's probably just getting better and better. But every time I see you, it's a very enjoyable performance. Okay. I find that because people on stage are my friends, that I don't have that sexual interaction. I have more of observing beautiful artistry, and that's where
butterflies. Yeah,
I think you get the butterflies,
yeah.
But the thing about not being nervous and having a persona, I get that with the red lipstick.
Yeah.
When I put red lipstick on and I've got a rockabilly outfit on or something, I just want to sing.
Right?
Yeah. And I just want to do it. So I absolutely see that.
You'll have to sing live one time while I perform.
I would actually, you know what? You guys just saw that live right here. I actually will. Yes. We gotta pick a song.
Oh gosh, we're gonna have so much fun.
Oh my God. No, let's do that.
Yes.
You are great with choreographing now, and whatever you've been doing with burlesque for a number of years, I think it's fantastic. So you just tell me what to do. I'll just do it.
Yeah.
I also am very much a sub, so we haven't talked about that.
I kind of don't mind bossing people around.
There you go. Perfect. That's easy. I mean, I can take control in different situations if I have to, but I'm like, that's one of those words that is thrown out there in your community as well. You guys are so open about sexuality.
Yes.
And it seems very healthy. Maybe this is going too far in topics, but I think I'm sort of pausing here because I'm debating. Do I really want to go there? No, maybe not. I don't know. We can talk about anything. It's a kind of an adult channel. I will tell you guys after what I went through. Should I tell you now? Oh, well, I don't know. I mean, maybe we can... you can pretty much chat about anything here, and if people give us topics to talk about, I think Vanessa is one of those people who could definitely...
I can roll with some stuff.
I think I want to figure out, and as you think about that, we'll just keep coming back to chat, but I'll keep talking to Vanessa about a few things. We might shut this down in about a few minutes or something. I don't know. We're just going.
Yeah, we're just going.
I'm just loving your story. Okay. So you kissed a girl and you liked it.
Yeah. And then we were together for 2 years.
Oh, wow. Yeah. First girl that you...
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it would be very, very big.
Yeah.
It would be a big experience.
It was tough. It was especially tough when I realized that she wasn't meant to be my forever because she was such an important first to me. So, yeah, I had to make the choice for my own well-being and to continue on the pathway of having a healthy career and different things like that. I knew that particular relationship wasn't for me.
Yeah. And so you've had, I've had different, 2-year relationships or whatever here, there, and that happens. And I think actually the fact that people can end relationships is also healthy.
Yeah.
Okay, sure, Papa. So you lost a loved one to cancer. It was very hard, but you pulled through. That's another life thing that happens, and it's extremely difficult, especially if you've had to see somebody deteriorate from a condition. Well, and again, this is, mostly an interview about Vanessa, but I can relate to seeing someone slowly deteriorate and pass away, and it's it's hard.
It's good to talk about it though too, right? Because there's other people that are currently going through it. There's always going to be people going through it, and if we talk about it and be vulnerable, we can help people find their strength too, right?
Exactly. Like, do you find that too? Like, the more people you know who've been through a similar situation, the more you don't feel alone, and the stronger you feel.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's part of this as well. I don't know. I mean, we have the one story of you with your partner, and he lost his friend in a work accident. So it must have been someone you knew as well.
Yeah.
Which would be huge. What are other things? I don't know that I want to. Okay, the reason why I'm pausing. Is a couple conditions I have, one of which is post-traumatic stress disorder. And this comes from trauma, and I have certain triggers. And so I always pause before I maybe get into something that might trigger someone. And what was happening in my mind was, you did say you suffered trauma as a child. Mm-hmm. I don't know that we want to talk about that. But maybe if you're comfortable addressing it and how you were able to deal with it, have you dealt with it?
Yeah, no, I think it's a big part of my story, and it's not a happy part of my life. And I won't go into details, but there was multiple instances of sexual abuse.
Okay.
And not just for myself, for my older brother. And so this is a part that I didn't include yet in this story, but I knew that we would get to it. As a teenager, he actually took his own life.
Okay.
So that was directly linked to the abuse that happened. And I didn't understand so much of it because I was so young. And it's hard to say. Like, a lot of people say things like, now they're in a better place, now they're in a better place. And I never understood what that meant.
No.
And I still don't entirely, but to be somebody that's so afflicted by trauma, to be living in a tiny town, to be questioning your own sexuality, which he was, to grow up in a family and in a tiny town where the gays weren't really accepted, it all compounds into something, right? And so,
gosh, that must have been tough. Were you close with your brother?
When we were younger, we were. So when he passed, he was living in Nova Scotia, and I was in Edmonton. My firstborn was still quite young, actually. She was only like, so she was born March 17th, and he passed August 6th.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a huge... Together we will stay strong.
Yes.
We will.
We must.
We must, yeah. Oh, I'm so glad to be here with you lovely women. Thank you, Papa. Or Leon. I'll call you Leon. Thank you, Leon.
Yeah.
That's great. Wow, so that's a huge moment in your life. What made you able to continue yourself?
Having small kids was part of it, because you have to be there. You got to do the stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then I think for a number of years, I convinced myself that I was okay from everything. And I convinced myself that people that suffer trauma, and sexual trauma especially, they go one of two ways. They're either really messed up and not okay, or they're just strong and they're like,
and they just
on this
move
side.
on.
And that's who I thought I was for the longest time. I thought I was just this strong person, but much later in life it catches up with you, and it's similar to like the grief effect. You can have months or even years of being completely okay, and then there's something hits that button and it triggers the pain, and then you're like, oh my god,
oh no, what do we do?
I never actually dealt with this. So I think I swept it under the rug. I think that's where a lot of my dabbling with the drugs came in.
Yes.
And
you wouldn't necessarily put those two together. Because that happened for me as well. Like, I wouldn't, I mean, I don't know how many people are going to watch this. I sort of haven't come out with this, but based on the counseling I've done, I wouldn't actually classify myself as an alcoholic. I would classify myself as a person with trauma who used a substance unknowingly to ignore that trauma. So that's what the counselors would say as well. So I have had similar, not the same, but I've had similar traumas. And so I can sort of relate to that. You can't sweep it under the carpet. It's going to come out.
That's right.
And there's okay. Here's what I want you to address. I'm curious.
Okay.
Again, give me a second to try and phrase it. I'm still working on my interview skills. We'll do the song right after this question. We'll find that song. Okay? So maybe type it down, and then I'm just going to ask her this. Let me see if I can get it phrased well, because, again, there are a couple different theories with how to deal with trauma. Some people maybe don't say it is sweeping it under the carpet. Some people maybe say, well, let's be strong.
Yeah.
Let's start with life, live in the present moment, and continue. But I have found, and you have found, you can't. It manifests itself in some way. So how do we deal with it without dwelling on it, and how do we get better?
I think it depends. And I mean, I'm going to boast for therapy, for sure. I think that we need to advocate for ourselves. And I started out at the level of a counselor. Okay. And I knew that I needed something a little more in depth.
Okay.
And so eventually it got me connected with a psychologist, and working on some CBT programs and stuff like that.
CBT, what is CBT?
It's cognitive behavioral therapy.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So many people are viewed as like, oh, you've got anxiety and depression and this and this and this. Let's give you a prescription.
Yeah.
And I think that should be your last.
That's the last
approach that you take. And even if you do get a prescription, I think you need to be doing some work. As well.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, you have to.
I know a young lady, and I won't say who she is to protect her. But she recently got sober from a number of different things.
Okay.
And in her sober time, she's kind of done some unthawing, and memories have come up, and she's spoken up about some traumas and some abuse that have happened to her.
Yeah.
And when she was sharing with me, she said that it wasn't as important to her, and she filed some police not charges, but she filed some police reports for the appropriate situations. And she said for her, it wasn't so much important that they got in trouble with the police. She was more concerned about it not happening to other people.
Yeah.
And she knew that for her own health and well-being, that she had to come to a place of acceptance to be able to like let go in a sense.
Yeah. Okay.
And so she's doing a lot of spiritual practices and got into journaling and even just drawing and just writing stuff down,
just
writing
getting
her dreams down. Yeah. And so it's kind of tough, because even when you look at it, you see the stories in the media of these sexual predators that get a slap on the wrist, and it's disheartening. Why do we have young people coming forward when they are going to get dragged through the mud and the person's not going to get in trouble?
I actually went. You know, I posted about this, and maybe I shouldn't have posted publicly, but I went to the police about something that happened many years ago, and nothing got done. I was in there. I almost blacked out, because whatever that is that was part of you that was damaged, goes, oh, you're listening to me now. So the emotion just like is right there.
Yeah.
And things went dim as I'm at the counter and I'm shaking, you know, and still debating, was this real? Because you ignore it for so long.
Absolutely, you do.
And then I'm like, I'm going to report this. Well, there was no proof. There's no forensic evidence.
Yeah.
And that's the thing we struggle with. Mm-hmm. And the police struggle with that as well.
Yeah.
So they didn't even question him, though.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Right? I think, can you not just question him?
Yeah.
You know? So that's something that people go through. So I'm not sure. I want to encourage people to come forward, but I think they need to be in a very, very safe place to do so.
Yeah.
With a lot of support.
Mm-hmm. And I think we can do better. I think there are some people that come forward, but I believe that there's probably more people that don't come forward.
Oh, yeah.
And this is like,
yeah,
this is stuff from childhood or adults that it's happening to, people in the workplace that it's happening to.
Yeah.
Like it's another thing, like wearing an orange shirt to stand up for what we're standing up for. We need to be standing up for all of these things, and we need to create safe spaces for people to talk.